Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade RX-78 GP-Z01 N-Gauge Gundam. I got mine right here through those awesome people over at Buy. You can too, link in the description. So when it comes to this kit right here, the high-grade N-Gauge Gundam from the app game UC N-Gauge, I thought this would be pretty much like the N-Gauge Zero we saw before. I thought this would be pretty much 95% the exact same kit, but boy, was I wrong. This is, well, nothing like it at all. Of course, if you do want to see that particular kit, you can check out a review of that. But every runner in this box is brand new for 2024. Nothing has been reused. There are a couple of physical aspects that make it look a little bit like that kit. But according to the runner, nothing has been transferred from that kit over to this one. So inside the box we do have 9 runners. For the most part this is fully color accurate besides a couple of minor things. All the parts in here are really nice, and overall it is always super cool to build a built from the ground up premium Bandai kit because they put a lot of extra effort into it. On top of that we have a couple of other things, including a runnerless stand so you can have this thing in the air, some beams for your beam sabers, and we also do have some poly caps too. Now, if you're like me, you may not be the biggest fan of polycaps in your build, but do not worry, they're only used for the neck and the shoulders. That's it. Everything else is plastic on plastic and it feels quality, quality, quality. On top of that, there are some stickers in here as well, and I will mention there are quite a few of them. They're on recessed aspects, so they're not the worst, and I'll talk about those a little bit later on. But yeah, the build in here is a little bit of a hybrid. It feels a little bit old school, it feels a little bit new. Old school aspects, of course, would be like there is no bend in the feet, it's just straight up block feet. But then there are some nice aspects, like some nice joints inside the legs, the way they've built that kind of GP01 or Stardust memory feeling kind of aspects into it, like those kind of tube sections that are in the feet and in the knees. They've been amalgamated into the design so nicely and colors separated fantastically. Some parts which are different from the N-Gauge Zero, we have fully encapsulated upper thighs, which does mean there is some pretty big mold lines and nubs on these. Inside the body this builds up very nicely. Everything builds up super simply. We do have a nice little black section inside of the chest to layer the yellow bits onto, and the overall design, especially the molding in the torso sections, is incredibly nice, but be careful nipping out on this. The knob layout on the surfaces of this kit are a little bit on the, well, shitty side. So I say nip far from the kit and sand off the knobs. Don't double nip them. The arms on this are generic enough. We do have polycaps inside the shoulders. I'm not exactly sure as to why they decided for polycaps here, but they did. Everything down to the hands on this kit are completely new for this one compared to the N-Gauge Zero. Nothing is the same as before. This one definitely feels a lot more typical Gundam, especially Stardust memory style. The head is nicely split up into individual pieces, nice detail, it looks great. We do have stickers for the eyes though, no color separation in the eyes right here, and stickers for the head cameras too. And speaking of stickers, that is probably the biggest letdown on this kit. There are a lot of them. Again, these are all for recessed parts and cameras, so the kind of green shiny bits, I can kind of let kit slide with that. And the recessed bits aren't the worst, especially because if you do paint these with a Gundam marker, you just have to fill in the area, sand off the excess. It's super simple to do, but for this review, because I'm backlogging it, it was just the stickers I used. We have a bunch of nice equipment in here as well. That's the general beam rifle, beam sabers, and the shield, all nicely color separated. Basic-ish, but nice. And we do have a whole bunch of equipment in here to make this N-Gauge Gundam into the Super N-Gauge Gundam. So a lot of the wings that build up around on the back and the cannon that you get in here have a real Super Gundam kind of feel like we would have seen in Zeta Gundam. Something that this particular mobile suit throws down with a lot in the game, and hopefully we will see some other variants of it in future. And that does absolutely bring me to right now, and this is the kit once it's finished. I have to say I'm mighty impressed. It took me a little longer than I thought, so I'm going to be speeding through the aesthetics and everything else on this. But the first thing I will mention is this right here. This is the N-Gauge Zero we would have taken a look at, I would say maybe a year or so ago, just absolutely gave up on his rifle. So yeah, I took a look at this maybe I would say 1 year ago or so, and when I was ordering the actual N-Gauge we're taking a look at today, I thought it was going to be 90% this kit right here, but it is not. So the N-Gauge right here that we're taking a look at today, which is the newer kit, is a lot more regular Gundam-y looking than this right here. This kit, the N-Gauge Zero, has a lot of nice curves and whatnot that gives it a bit of a feminine shape. I mean, like, even the beam sabers up there are way longer than what we have on the newer one. So basically in universe, this right here is the prototype to this right here. This was developed from this particular kit. And although a lot of things do look similar, for example, the shape of the upper legs there, you can see that we've got a nicer color separation on the new kit that actually has some nice little gray cuffs up top there compared to this one. Again, extremely similar, but not the same. Anyway, on to what we're taking a look at today. So jumping into that full 360-degree spin so you can see everything about this. This definitely has a cool kind of feel to it. This definitely oozes Stardust memory flair, which makes sense. This is the GP-Z01 after all. The Z apparently has something to do with it being a prototype or something like that. But yeah, it has GP01 in its name. It's got all of the cool Stardust memory kind of vibes, like the recessed sections with the little red detailing in it, the kind of canisters in the knees and the lower feet. I will mention, like I said before, that we do have a lot of stickers in those recessed aspects. So the blacks, the reds, all of that is stickers. But again, it's not that bad. When they are in recessed areas, they tend to stick better, not look as obvious, and if you did top coat it, you wouldn't even notice at all that they aren't just part of the kit. So jumping in a little bit closer to take a look at the details, the way the color separation has been done on this thing's chest is phenomenal. It almost looks, in a way, kind of like the front of a car, with a little bit of a scoop right there. But yeah, these little yellow sections are color separated. The black is a layer inside of the chest. The only thing that is not color separated are those little green sections there and there, easily paintable, and again, these sort of stickers aren't the worst. The head is very nice. It's a unique kind of design. It's got a kind of like large head to kind of muzzle ratio to kind of give it that kind of cute sort of look. And everything else just looks so nice. Now, I will mention I only panel lined the face, really. The rest of it doesn't really have much to line up per se, but overall, still looking very nice. Some aspects on here really do harken back to Stardust memory and the designs from that. The forearms here being a little bit chonky towards the back. However, they still have a little bit of the N-gauge kind of roundness to the front and the upper arms. The calf armor, the knee armor, those tube-like segments in the feet there, as well as in there in the knees, again, completely 0083. So jump now into a little bit of a size comparison. There it is beside the RX-78-2 Revive version, as well as the N-Gauge Zero. The high-grade Gundam Mark II and the high-grade Zeta Gundam 0080. Yeah, 0080. Beside the Rising Freedom and the Immortal Justice. And beside high-grade Gundam Barbatos and Gundam Aerial Rebuild. When it comes to accessories, the N-Gauge Gundam is absolutely packing. We've got the usual sword, board, and beam rifle Gundam loadout, and on top of that we do have a full runnerless stand, 3 alternate hands, not including the 2 that are attached. We've got these little adapters, which I'll talk about later. These are 2-pin adapters, and finally then we've got a backpack and a cannon to basically make this into the Super N-Gauge Gundam. So first up, when it comes to the hands, it's always very nice to see some widespread hands in here, and we've actually got a pair, not just the one. Now this is one of those things that I really do find interesting about this kit. Now these are the kind of square style fingers, but if we flash on over to the N-Gauge Zero right here, this one had like the more kind of Xeon-y looking fingers. These are the rounded style ones. Now there's probably something to do with its development history as to why this is the case, but that is cool. They didn't just reuse the hands between the two. Next up then, we do have a pair of square holding hands, so the usual kind of ones that you have in here. These are the standard ball joint. Thankfully, these aren't the kind of hands that look like they have that, well, something in the hand when there's nothing in the hand. And the other alternate hand we have in here is a right hand holding hand, and this is just for the included rifle. Speaking of weapons in here, first off we've got a pair of beam sabers. These got a little bit bent inside of the box. The handles on these looking quite average. And when it comes to getting these into the hands of the N-Gauge Gundam, they just pop in just like so. And I'm going to just, well, as usual, throw one in reverse grip as well. These hold on perfectly, so they're not going to drop out of the hands. And just throwing it into a bit of a pose, I will mention so far I'm having a little bit of issues with jankiness in here. It seems like the overall movement on some of the limbs is not that great. It feels a little bit not so intuitive in the hands, and it did just kind of fall apart both at the hip and the upper arm, and I'm just trying to get it into a basic regular pose. We'll see what happens from here on out. So as usual, when the beam sabers are not in use, you just disconnect them like that, remove the handle, and then those handles can be stored up on these little sections right here. They're not actually attaching into the backpack like a usual Gundam. These attach into the kind of blue armored section right there. just like we would have seen on the N-Gage Zero. Next up in here we have the beam rifle, which is kind of like a cute short alternative to the classic RX-78-2 beam rifle. We do have a sticker in there for the sight section. Attaching the rifle is the usual routine. We do have a dedicated rifle hand. You just split that sandwich style like so, throw the rifle in like it's the ham in the sandwich, close up the sandwich, and there you go. Ball joint attachment, and that is what it looks like attached. Again, it's kind of classic UC sort of beam rifle, but it feels like it's been made a little bit shorter and somewhat a little bit cuter. Continuing along, getting the N-Gage Gundam here set up, and this is the shield. What they did here is quite smart. The blue section, instead of just being on one side, is kind of just housed inside of this in order to kind of give it a little bit more color separation. I'm not sure if in here is meant to be gray or what. It'd be easy to paint that, but it is cool the way that it's been done. This is a bit of a classic attachment here, so 2 ball joints depending on if you want it front or side. And getting that attached as usual way, we've got a little bit of a slot in the back of the arm here. And this just pops in a little bit just like so. So again, you can have it on the back or the side, and that is what this kit looks like, loaded up with its average regular equipment. Throwing it a little bit into a pose there just so you can kind of see what it looks like. And again, the posing on this is mildly awkward to say the least. It's not bad, it's just a little bit funny. But there's a quick little bit of a pose. Now we do have options. That's the standard loadout, but if we strip all of that off just like so, and also remove the backpack from back here, and just a bit of a brief mention, oh, that was awkward, so it's left that bit behind it's not meant to have. But yeah, we've got 2 backpack kind of options here, the one that was used already, and the standard backpack adapter you normally see in these kits. We've also got another little bit of an extension right here because of this recessed area where you can pop this in. So if you do want to use regular backpacks that are a little further out, 2 of these are included, which is handy. And apparently you need this too for using the booster right here that came with the N-Gage Zero. And you can also use the pack, or should I even say backpack, that we're about to take a look at right now with the N-Gage Zero. But I won't be doing that today because I'm running out of time. And here is that booster. This has massive Super Gundam from Gundam Zeta kind of feels to it. We do have what look like some little beam or Vulcan weapons up here. They're not color separated. We do have some moving little segments down here. Some nice color separated verniers there. The gray here has been color separated very nicely too. And we do have some moving aspects. These little teetering pieces here, these are C-clips. These can move out and in as well, just like that. And we do have kind of a sliding mechanism like that as well to kind of bring these down a little bit. Attaching this onto the N-Gage is as simple as slotting it into the back just like so. And it looks a little something like that. The associated weapon for using with that, once again in a very kind of Super Gundam kind of way, is this big old cannon. Again, very nice color separation on this, nice molding too. Snipping this out can be a little bit awkward considering the fact that the nubs are placed in a weird way that you always seem to take a little bit of a gouge out if you're not too careful. This pops into the trigger finger holding hand the exact same way as the last rifle. I will mention we do have a runnerless stand in here for attaching it onto, but I'm not going to use this because in the reviews it can be a little bit awkward, but these are great for display. And I'm going to stick to using the simple stand because it is easy to get it lined up for shots like the one I'm about to do. What the hell? Or not? Huh. I'm actually going to try the arm off that display stand I tried the last time, which was a little bit loose on the other kit, and oh, that fits absolutely perfect. So in the last review I did say this display stand was a little bit loose. No, I guess that's just in Luna Maria Hawk. But yeah, there is a quick pose of what this kit looks like with that super N-Gage Gundam stuff attached. Again, it looks really good. This is high quality. The wings look like they almost have a kind of gimmick to them that should like close down over the Gundam, but there doesn't seem to be anything in the manual about it. But overall, looking good. Time to check out how it can bust a move. So finally now onto the articulation. The build on this for the most part is rock solid, maybe a little too solid at times. I actually had to shift the hips down into their lower section because these do have a little bit of a sliding mechanism in them before actually doing this, because trying to just pull the legs down is more likely going to make you pull the leg off as opposed to letting you get into that. Otherwise, it is pretty strong. I do find, again, you can tell which joint is the polycap instantly. I don't know why they did that. It's more likely to fall off than anything else. I've had the arms fall off about 3 times so far. This hip came off once because it kind of got janked off because it wasn't in the lower position, but once you drop it down, it's not too bad. Anyway, usual pose. So articulation-wise, this kit is not great. It can't really get down too low at all, and it just kind of janks all over the place. The arms don't raise up past that point, the legs don't raise up past that point. Everything just feels overly awkward. It's the complete opposite to a lot of kits I would have been taking a look at lately that feel like they're, well, not much is going on inside of them, and then in the end there is quite a bit of payoff. This has very little payoff compared to how much building a lot of the aspects felt like they had. Articulation, not fantastic. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is a hard one to rank. First off, aesthetically it is fantastic, but it does rely on some stickers for some weird aspects, but otherwise it looks incredible. When it comes to the accessories, there's a whole lot of stuff inside of it, so you've got the standard loadout, as well as the stuff to make it into the Super Engage. Very cool. Finally, when it comes to the articulation, you can get some nice basic poses out of it, but you're not going to get anything too over the top. It is a hard one to rank, and it's why I really need to get around to kind of finessing the ranking system a little bit more. This is nice in some aspects, not so nice in others. I'm going to go with Gold tier. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, I can't finish this video without special thanks to those who support the channel on the memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Abraxas, Caleb Engelhardt, Joe, Orgy59061, Shadowwolf179, 10 Soldier YT, and Van Fawn.